Good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the final video in my mini listening series. During this series, we have looked at listening as a process, beginning with the idea of actually listening to understand the sounds, in decodifying the sounds in actual words, and to understand the words, then to understand connected speech. And in the last video, we moved more towards what happens when you can understand the single words, but you want to understand the meaning. So we looked at listening for stressed words so that you can understand the meaning just by looking at the stressed words and then adding those other function words to the text. This video is the last one in the series. And here we're looking at going beyond just listening and understanding the words, but adding meaning to a text we hear by applying what we know of the world, our own world knowledge. So here we have today's little tech experiment. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so here we are. And the title of this video then is, but what does it really mean? Going beyond just the words and applying your knowledge of the world. So we're going to look at, well, we're going to listen to a little text called Easter 2021. And it's a text that I'm actually speaking to you about my experience of Easter this year. So before we even start listening to this, you will have knowledge of the world that you can apply. So the first thing you should do is to think about, make a list of the words and ideas that you think might be in this text about Easter 2021. And to do that, you need to think about what Easter means. You need to think about me as well. I am a British woman. How might I celebrate Easter? What do you know about the way British people celebrate Easter? But I live in Verona and it's 2021. So you can bring things from our particular situation at the moment into this. How might this come into it? Okay, so stop the video and make a list of 3 or 4 ideas that you think might be in my text, and also 3 or 4 words or expressions. Okay, I'm now going to give you the first part of the text, then I want you to just stop it and check how many ideas came up. So are you ready? Easter 2021. Well, Easter this year, as you might imagine, has not been a very festive affair. And in fact, I was trying to remember what I did last year. And, you know, I have absolutely no memory of it at all, which in a way speaks for itself. This year in Verona, in any case, it was a bit better, although because we were allowed to go out and meet with 2 other people at their homes. So okay, that's the end of the first texts. So stop the video, check the ideas that came up and the words, and then what do you expect to come next? Maybe listen to that little text again and decide what you think would be the next thing that I said, okay? Now I'm going to continue with the text and you can then check, and you can check to see if you were right. Are you ready? Okay. The last word in the first text was so, and it continues like this. So I celebrated with 2 friends on Easter Saturday. We had a pleasant evening and we even enjoyed a dark chocolate. What do you expect to come next now? Well, the answer is a dark chocolate Easter egg. And to know that, you do need to know something about the Easter celebration. You need to know something about me and what you think I might do. Okay, the text continues. So we even enjoyed a dark chocolate Easter egg. But then, of course, at about 9:30, we had to. Okay, what do you think comes next here? Sorry. Well, I'll continue with the text and you can check your ideas. At about 9:30, we had to call it a day and I set off for home. The streets were very quiet. Just a few people like me scurrying along to get home before the 10 p.m. curfew. And it almost felt, to me at any rate, it felt as though you were doing something wrong just by being out in the street. And when I got into the house and I breathed, I heaved a sigh of relief, it was 9:55 p.m. So I got there with 5 minutes to spare. And the first thing I did was, what do you think comes next? Okay, so what came earlier was call it a day. You probably didn't think of that expression. You probably thought of something like at 9:30, we had to stop the dinner or we had to go home. The expression that came to me when I was talking was call it a day. Call it a day, you may not know, it's an idiomatic expression and it means to stop something. But whether you understood that or whether you understood stop doesn't really matter because you would still understand the message of the text. The second one I asked you to predict was what I did when I got home. And here it's not a question of looking for language particularly, it's a question of thinking what I might have done. Now, if you know me at all, then you would know that I love tea and I drink it a lot. And that's possibly what I would do when I got into the house. Okay, so to finish this off, I got into the house, I made myself a cup of tea and I relaxed for a while before going to bed, happy that at least for one evening, I'd been able to have dinner with two friends really in the flesh, and it makes such a difference. Zoom is great, but it's not the same as being with a couple of friends. Okay, at this stage, you might want to, you've understood my text, you've understood what I talked about. You might want to look at vocabulary or expressions like call it a day. So you're not actually working on listening now, you're working on something else. You're looking at vocabulary and expressions that you might want to learn, to know how to understand, and to make your own. So my suggestion here is listen again to the text, see if you can understand at least 2 or 3 of the words you didn't catch the first time. Pronounce them for yourself in your own mind. And this is something that people don't always do, but if you can hear me, if you can hear my voice saying these things in your own mind, it's the first step. And the second step is to make those words your own, make those expressions your own. So then you pronounce them not in my accent, but in yours. Okay, so this video showed you how listening and understanding is a constant interplay of what you know about the world and the person who is speaking and what is coming in the text. And there may be words and expressions that you don't understand, like call it a day. But if you've understood the message of stop in that case, then that's all you need. And then later, when you finish listening, you might go back and look at the vocabulary. Okay, so this was my last video in the listening mini video series. I hope you enjoyed them and I hope to see you all soon. So goodbye for now.